Hello and welcome to the very first All Around Access podcast. I'm Liv and I'm joined by co-host and tumbling sensation Dom Mensa.
Good morning, Liv. Very, very happy to be here. A little bit different to what I'm used to, but really, really excited to get started.
Yeah, so you're used to powering down the tumble run, but you're going to be co-hosting this podcast with me today. What are you most looking forward to?
Well, throughout this podcast series, we're going to be talking to a number of gymnasts that compete across the sport up and down the country, hopefully providing a really, really interesting insight into what it takes to get to the top and covering a lot of interesting topics along the way. It should be really, really good fun.
Yeah, so to kick things off, we're going to be catching up with a couple of legends in the sport of gymnastics. They're household names and they've won plenty within this sport.
Yes, I'm super, super excited to have these guys for the first episode of the podcast. The first one of them is a teammate of mine and a former world and European champion. And the second guest is a London 2012 Olympic bronze medalist. We're super, super pleased to have these guys. Please welcome Kristof Willerton and Dan Purvis. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Hi guys.
Morning, guys.
Good. So before we get on to what you're up to now and how you've been coping with this strange year, we want to take you back right to the beginning and get some insight into how you got into the sport and what it's eventually led to in your both great careers. So here we go. So Dan, first of all, why gymnastics? What sort of enticed you into the sport and kept you in it for such a long time?
Yeah, great question. Looking back on it, I think really I just wanted to get into a sport where I could use that energy. I started when I was 7 years old. My older brother, he was 10 at the time. He used to play for Everton football team. So he got started in the football route. So I was like, I want to be just like my brother. Unfortunately, I couldn't kick a ball to save my life. So it was it wasn't a sport for me. But because I was showing a lot of energy on the football field, a PE teacher recommended to my parents, why don't you get started in a local gymnastics club? So that's where I started, going to Southport Gymnastics Club. And from there, being on the high bar in the pitch, chucking myself around, I just thought, you know what, I love the sport. And yeah, because I loved it so much, I decided to stick at it. And that's really where it all began.
That's really interesting, especially that you with football. Do you like to do a bit of football skills still today, though, Dan? I reckon you are quite good with the football.
Oh, I don't know, a little flyaway. They're okay, but yeah, there's not many keep you ups I'm doing these days.
What about yourself, Kristof? What kind of brought you into the sport when you were younger?
It's kind of actually a very similar story to Dan there, actually, to be fair. Played with football for a little while as well. Said my first session, I remember I got kicked in the face, got a stud in the eye and got a black eye. And I think that kind of put me off carrying football for then. Yeah, and same story, so much energy. I had too much energy. I had an older sister, so she obviously kind of already did a bit of gymnastics. So while I was kind of waiting, they kind of just shoved me in the class as well. And yeah, kind of the same, fell in love with it after that.
So and did you obviously... Sorry, Dom, go ahead. I was going to say, Kristof, you obviously ended up in tumbling. Is that the first discipline you started in gymnastics?
So, I started a bit younger than Dan there. So I was 4 years old, I guess. And it was kind of recreational gymnastics. We didn't have artistic around, which probably is usually the natural progression for most people to kind of go into. So I actually started with acrobatic gymnastics, which used to kind of be a lot more in line with tumbling. So the club had acro and tumbling. And so I did acro to start with, and then as soon as they let me do some of the tumbling alongside it, that was kind of me going, yeah, actually that's the part I love doing, and that's kind of where I got stuck into, and then played with other disciplines. I then tried trampolining and double mini trampoline, kind of always to find my passion, but tumbling was one I always ended back on.
Yeah, bro.
And similar sort of question posed to you, Dan. Was it always artistic straight from the beginning? Because I know obviously you both started gymnastics very young. You kind of progress through a recreational system. You try loads of different things out and then you kind of find your niche. Did you find your niche straight away in artistic, Dan?
Yeah, I think because I was very young when I started, I didn't know any other gymnastic disciplines until I got older. So it was all recreational, then competitive, go to the competitions. And fortunately enough, I was then on the GB squad. So it kind of took that direction. But a lot of teammates of mine from the gymnastics club in Southport where I trained went into Cirque du Soleil, went into trampoline and tumbling. So yeah, I think it starts out as kind of that route or can do. And then, depending on how you're developing or what you love more, you can kind of then go into a different gymnastic discipline. So yeah, for me, it was kind of one direction, but I think it's a great start off route to then go into it. They all lend themselves, don't they, to each other, I think, in gymnastics. So
brilliant. Good to hear.
And Dan, when was the first time you got selected for GB? You obviously just talked about it briefly. What was that like? What was that feeling like? And how old were you at that time?
I think I was 10. I think I was 10 years old. And I got selected for a trial after the NDPs, which is the national championships at the time. And yeah, I remember training really hard for it. It was very much strength conditioning, one bit. So it was like how many chin-ups you can do, how many pump swings. And then there was the artistic side, more the skills, the choreography, which I really struggled with throughout my career. Kind of like ballet work, things like that. So it was a whole mixture of things. So I remember, I was very nervous at the time. And yeah, I remember getting the letter came through. I don't think it was an email back in the day. I think it was a letter that came through. I've been selected to be on the GB squad. So yeah, it's a really proud day. I remember my mum and dad were absolutely made up. So yeah, something I still look back on and think, wow, that's where it kind of all began, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Brilliant. And similar question to you, Kristof. Obviously, I think your first GB call-up was in 2005, if I'm correct. Yeah, and was it the World Championships as well? Was that your first ever competition?
Yeah, so actually, before that, I was an NDP tumbler, which is kind of like the second tier competition structure. So I wasn't doing the FIG, the top level stuff yet. And said actually just we had Mate, one of the acro tumbling heads. He kind of went around and kind of invited me to the trial for the World Age Championships. So I was 12 when I was trialing then, and had no experience of going to like a British Championships or anything like that. And just kind of got caught a lucky break because maybe there wasn't kind of the level that there is now back then. And so I actually got selected for the World Championships, and I don't think I really kind of understood how big that was at the time because I had no comprehension of what the level was like until kind of you really get there. So yeah, I kind of was very lucky to get the experience quite early on in my career, as in the fact that I hadn't worked my way up yet, but just kind of got the lucky break and kind of went into it from there.
Brilliant, good to hear. That is crazy, that kind of jump, because I used to do NDPs like yourself as well.
Yeah.
I've obviously gone for a bit more of a traditional route. You go to NDPs and the British champs, then maybe like a little international competition, then Worlds, and you just went from NDP straight to Worlds. I'm pretty sure now with the amount of people doing tumbling, that sort of jump is kind of unheard of. So to see that you kind of did it, and you've obviously adapted and gone on to achieve what you've achieved is really, really great for all the NDP tumblers out there. So it might not be such a big jump from obviously NDP to world, but it's definitely possible, as you've shown and many other tumblers have shown.
And guys, you obviously both trained at the National Sports Centre. Did you ever train alongside each other? Did you ever see each other training in there?
A couple of times. I actually kind of remember the first time I met you, Dan. We were at a gym gala. We were in Belgium. I think it was maybe 2011, and I was kind of, it was my first time I'd been to one of these events, and I was like the only Brit there. And I remember seeing Dan there and being like, oh my god, I can't go over to talk to him. But then Dan straight away was like, yeah, come along. So, but yeah, we definitely did a couple of times at Lilleshall.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, because I used to train there a lot in my senior career, and then when you guys were coming, it was a totally different atmosphere as well. It was great for us, especially when there wasn't a training camp, because it can be quite hard. It was normally me, Christian Thomas, Andre Popov, and then sometimes you guys would all come in, some of them. So it was like, oh, cool, breath of fresh air, different things going on, and yeah, it was amazing to see, and definitely learned a lot from seeing the way you guys tumbled and the way you were in the air. So yeah, it was always awesome.
Oh, nice. So let's just move on to some of kind of your career highlights. Dan, we'll start with you. Obviously, 10-time major championship medalist, 4-time British all-around champion. What would you say is kind of your career highlight? I'm going to take a guess that it might be around London, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, certainly around London. That was unbelievable. Even still looking back on it to this day. But throughout my career, it always seems to be the team medals that have been my highlight. And I think it's just gymnastics is such a tough sport, and everyone working together, having the same goal. When you've been on that podium, fortunately enough, if it's been for Scotland, if it's been for Great Britain, British Gymnastics, it's just everything gone into that. It's always wonderful to share with your teammates. So certainly London 2012, absolutely a career high. Very unexpected at the time. It was just go out there, enjoy ourselves, and throughout the competition, it seemed closer and closer that we'll get into this medal. Yeah, all the build-up and finishing on floor and hearing the crowds going wild. Family and friends being there was incredible. Doing it for our country in 2002 was absolutely wonderful. But similar experience for Scotland in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. First time Scotland had a team medal, and being a silver medal with that team was fantastic. And then finishing at the Commonwealth Games Scotland in Australia, where we got a team bronze as well, and being with a younger team. I was the granddad of the team at that time, so it was a different role, but it was very special. And then being able to finish on that and to walk away was it was really wonderful.
You always look so calm and collected on the floor. You obviously just talked through a load of career highlights there. You've won some incredible medals. How do you deal with those nerves, particularly in things like team finals when you've got other people relying on you? It must just be really really difficult to control your nerves in that situation.
Yeah, it is, and it did take me a long time to get used to that, especially when I was a junior. Even the night before, not being able to sleep. Just trying to think happy thoughts, but the training goes into that. I think the training's really important. Like my coach Jeff Brooks, he was really really good at that. He would always say to me, look, because he was quite tough for me in the gym, in the sense that I'd have to bang out some good routines there, preparation before it, but doing control competitions, trying to make that atmosphere as pressurized as possible in a way that when I get to the competition, it's not so daunting. It's it's just how I'll be in training. So I used to think of it like that. My coach Jeff said the same thing. Don't worry if you've messed up. You've done all the training. So I used to think of it like that, and also for myself to reflect on. I used to kind of think like an act. I'd watch gymnasts that some legends like Koichi Ichimura, incredible gymnast, and I'd watch him and he looked like he was, having a walk in the park the day before an Olympic final. So I used to think to myself, he can't be that chill. He's got to be nervous, but he's not showing it. So try and learn from the best and see how he's able to cope under this pressure. And I think the main thing of that is acting calm, and then presenting your routine as calmly as possible. But on the inside, obviously, absolutely shaking. But to try not to feel that, I think it's a good key to have.
Oh, good. Yeah, some good advice for our young gymnasts listening here then.
Definitely. And Kristof, obviously the same sort of question posed to you. Medals, at sort of every level, World Games, World Championships, European Championships, British Championships. So you've actually got so many to choose from, similar to Dan. So what would be, the one you look back on, the competition you've looked back on and got a good result, and the one you smile at the most? Which one makes you the happiest to look back on?
I say it's always hard to kind of pin down to one, because there's so many different levels of why you enjoy different competitions. And like Dan was saying, kind of the team competitions, especially towards the end of my career, or kind of as I'm now going on, those are the ones that I kind of feel even more special. Because I think when I first came a senior, the individual ones were the results that I was getting, which obviously some of them I look back on as my best results. But we kind of always just missed out on the team. To now kind of see the team level improve is kind of what's been kind of the best thing to be able to see. Like even, someone like you, Dom, seeing you from when you were like a younger tumbler with like all the promise in the world, but then actually seeing you now come alongside and be my teammate and us get like the team gold last year, stuff like that kind of makes it really special.
Brilliant.
But I think one of the other ones as well that is always instated is the home championships. I remember being in Glasgow to watch the 2014 Commonwealth Games, and just the atmosphere in there was just amazing. And kind of for me, we had the Home World Championships in 2011 in Birmingham, and that was kind of my first senior final competition. And being in there, just you can't kind of compare it to any other competitions, just because it's just a whole nother level of competition. And just to see kind of the events that British Gymnastics put on have always been really, really successful. We get big crowds in, and then when you get the home cheer as well, it's just it's amazing.
Yeah. And similar to sort of Dan, you know, you've seen that sort of development of the team, always known as like a really, really consistent, reliable, solid rock of the team. How does your mindset kind of differ between when you're competing individually or competing in a team event? Is it the same? Is there things that are slightly different? Do you put a bit more pressure on yourself to do better when you're going for the team in particular?
I would say so, yeah. I've always been someone that works better under pressure, and the team events have always been the ones that I felt like, okay, yeah, you've kind of got to do it for everyone, because obviously if you mess up the individual competition or maybe you don't hit the performance, you go, okay, that's fine, I can learn from that. If you do it from a team point of view, it's hard to kind of feel that sometimes you may have let the others down. And I traditionally always end up going last in a lot of team finals. And I remember the 2017 World Championships was probably the biggest pressure I've ever felt, because I was going last, and the two boys before had done their job like to perfection. And it was kind of like, right, now I've got to kind of bring it home. So it definitely adds another element of pressure, but that's something I've actually enjoyed the most out of it.
Brilliant insight. Thank you, Kristof.
So it's great to hear about all your incredible moments between you. I think we could talk for a long time about this, but we're going to break it up a little bit now, and we're going to move on to a quick quiz. So we're going to test your knowledge.
Oh dear.
Right. Kristof, you're going to go up first. We've got 3 questions for you. So here's the first one. So you became a tumbling world champion in 2013, Great Britain's first in tumbling, for men as well. What was your combined score at that competition to win the gold?
74.9.
No way. Very good.
Very good. Correct. 74.9. The first tumble was 38.2 and the second tumble was 36.7. I remember I think I was definitely in the junior squad for that competition. I remember we managed to fly out just before to catch obviously that final, and the absolute scenes when, like, you know, you landed the last tumble and then the score came up. That was crazy. So yeah, well done. 74.9. That's the correct answer.
Right, Dan, your turn. No pressure, because you've got to get this right to level up the scores already. We're going to go back to 2015. So cast your mind back. In that year, you were part of the team that won the historic silver at the World Championships. It was an incredible moment. I remember being there. It was just buzzing. But this might be an easy one for you to start with. But who were the gymnasts in the team with you? I hope you get this one right.
I know, they'll be mad at me if I don't get this right. So we had Kristen Thomas, Lewis Smith, Max Whitlock, Bryn Bevan, and Niall Wilson.
Correct. Good. Yeah, that's correct. You managed to level the scores. So well done. Back to you, Dom.
Yes,
was James Hall there as the reserve?
Yeah, that's great.
Is that a bonus?
James Hall.
Is that a bonus point for you?
Yeah, Kristof's looking for the bonus.
You're trying to steal that point there, yeah.
That's not your question, Kristof.
Well done.
So back to you, Kristof. Along with, you know, that individual world gold medal, you also managed to capture a team bronze medal with your 4 teammates at the competition. Was this the first team medal since 2003? Was it? when the guys won gold. So obviously, 10 years in the making, and going back to you saying to see that sort of progression and development in the team is so good to see. But who were your other three teammates on that team? Could you name them for us, please?
In 2013.
2013.
Dan Lanigan, Greg Townley, and Abdullah Izidian.
Correct. Well done. 2-1, Kristof. Back to you, Liv and Dan.
Right, Dan. We can do this. You won 4 British all-round titles, like we said before, in your career. In which did you win your first, and who did you share the title with? So of your 4 British all-round titles, when did you win the first, and who did you share the title with?
Okay. So yeah, this was a really special one. So this was 2010, and this was with Sam Hunter.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah,
what was that like, Dan, getting your first ever British all-around title?
Yeah, it was really good. Something I always aim for throughout my career. I think it's such a pride and passion to try and be British champion. And yeah, I remember I come back from the World Championships in Rotterdam with competing with Sam Hunter in the all-round final at that championships, and then to come away and then compete at the British Championships and stand on the podium with each other was really special. Yeah, so it's good. I'm glad I got that one right.
Good. Okay. Well, scores are level. Back to you, Dom.
Brilliant. Speaking of British titles, Kristof, you're very, very good at winning those. I think you're on 7 now, aren't you? British titles?
Yeah.
7 British titles.
Yeah.
Wow. So he even has to think back to remember them. So in 2019, I remember I was on the floor as well. It was a really, really close competition, but you did manage to come away with your 7th British title. But who did you beat to the titles? Who was in 2nd position and who was in 3rd position for that competition, the 2019 British Championships?
So that was Jaden Paddock in 2nd, and then Elliot Brown in 3rd.
Correct. Brilliant. Would you say that was, out of all of them that you've done, especially at senior level, would you say that was the tightest one, as in terms of the competition, like it went right down to the wire?
I think it was one of the ones that we went in kind of being like, strongest kind of field. I mean, you put yourself in the mix there as well, Dom. Like, you kind of think anyone could have performed and kind of taken it on the day. I've kind of had closer cool ones. I think 2011, me and Sean literally had a very, very close battle. But yeah, that was probably the one where I think we kind of thought, yeah, anyone can kind of take it on the day.
Brilliant. Well done. Back to you, Liv.
Right. It's all on this question now, Dan. This is to either draw or lose, so no pressure again. So in the same year that you won the British title, the first British title, I should add, you also won an individual world medal. Can you remember which apparatus it came on and what was your score in that final? So which apparatus and what was your score?
Okay, so yeah, the apparatus was floor.
Correct.
Okay, so we got one right. Do I get 2 points for this? Did we get it right?
Well, I don't know, because Kristof's already got bonus points, so you're already.
Yeah. What was my score? Okay, can it be a round number instead of like a point? Something.
Well, I can give you a hint that it definitely wasn't a round number in the classic judging style. It was very specific, if that helps.
Okay. Was it 15.2 ish? 3?
Close, but not quite. It was 15.366. So, like I said, very specific. I would that's a hard one to remember. To be fair,
that was a tough one. I think in artistic, I think in tumbling, obviously you kind of get like the whole number on like sort of the decimal, so it'll be like 74.9. I think where it gets really, really specific in artistic is like 3, like for this example, 366. A very, very difficult question then. So no shame in not knowing that completely. So yeah, well done, mate. Congratulations, Kristof.
Right, we're going to move on. Lucky for you, Dan, I'm sure you're pleased about that. We're going to move on and ask you some quick fire questions. So we're going to get to know you both a little bit better. So we'll start with you, Kristof. Okay, we're just going to talk generally, obviously about the gym and the gym you train in. So, first question: who is the hardest trainer in the gym? Who would you say?
I would say Saskia.
Saskia. Why is that?
One of the female tumblers that I club. Just someone who's she's always kind of came into the sport quite late. She always had to work extra hard to kind of get to top level, and she kind of did exactly that, and always kind of worked that extra step to do that. So,
fab. Okay, cool. What is your favorite skill to compete?
Well, my favorite skill is a full twist and double pike, full and pike. And if I have competed that usually means it's a backup. So I probably actually prefer competing a Miller, I guess, but full and pike's my favorite.
So just to confirm, full in pike is a backwards full twist in a somersault, followed by 2 more pike somersaults.
No, just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah. You can do some
not a triple.
skills.
I like the double.
Okay, just a double. Nice. Okay. What's your favorite competition to date?
2014 Europeans, closely followed by individual final, closely followed by 2016 team final day.
Nice. Okay, very specific. You know your mind there. Right, changing completely out. What's your favorite snack?
Training snack, probably banana.
Right.
That does the most, but or grapes. Grapes is what I'd have if I wasn't specifically for training, but banana for training.
A tough choice. Okay. Your favorite music to listen to in the gym?
I like quite a bit of kind of old school rock, but in the gym it can be an eclectic mix of anything. I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan, but for training usually I put a bit more up tempo stuff, I guess.
Nice, interesting to know. Who would you say is the funniest gymnast in the gym?
Ooh.
You can say yourself.
Oh no, it's definitely not me. You know that much. No, I might even say that Paddy is the coach, because I can't pick one of the gymnasts, but Paddy definitely brings a lot of fun to the sessions.
Oh, that's good. Okay, best dancer. Could this be you?
Dom. This is Dom, actually, definitely. I mean, Dom could be one of the funniest, but yeah, Dom is a dancer for sure.
Well, you know,
potentially one of the funniest and the best dancer. Yeah. Getting a lot there, Dom. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, favorite country you've competed in and why?
Colombia. We had the World Games in 2013 there. It was my first like world medal. So it's kind of the Olympics for the non-Olympic sports. So it's the one that we get every 4 years. Yeah. But we actually got to see the country a bit more. The crowd were absolutely amazing. They were cheering everyone, and kind of got to, again, see a lot of my idols there as well.
Okay, I'm going to add a really quick question because we didn't touch on this earlier. Obviously, you went to Oxford University. I'm correct in saying that, aren't I? Yeah. Yes. So how did you manage to balance your studies and your training at the same time? Because that's going to be a tough ask at that sort of level of education.
It was difficult. It took me a little while to kind of get used to when I jumped up to university level from school. But kind of, I remember I had big support from a lot of my uni friends to kind of make sure I was always caught up with work. And more than anything, after a while, it just became quite easy because I enjoyed going to training so much that once I trained, I felt quite refreshed. I came home, I was kind of good, ready to work. So it was just kind of getting into patterns, getting into daily routines. And just as I said, again, eventually the training just became so natural that it helped my workload really.
Brilliant. Yeah, I just thought that was a really good, just for some of the younger gymnasts that might be listening in, to know that it's possible to go all the way to that level and still balance and still be, achieve everything you have done. Okay, finally, my final question. Who do you think within tumbling and the GB tumbling program is one of the biggest prospects for the future?
I'd say one of the most exciting ones we've got at the moment moving up soon is probably Will Cohen. from Pinewood. So he's about to hit the senior kind of circuit, and he's probably one of the big ones to watch out for. But even then, to be fair, at the junior level, we've got so many that we can name that are starting to come up through the ranks.
Real, yeah. I was going to say this. It's always been so strong in the GB tumbling, so it's going to be an exciting, another exciting few years by the sounds of it. Okay, right, Dan, coming over to you. Let's go. I'm gonna ask you similar questions. So amongst your kind of GB teammates, when you're in the gym, who would you say was the hardest trainer?
Oof, hardest trainer. Everyone puts a good graft in, to be fair. The hardest trainer for me, well, Frank Baines, who trains with me in Southport when we used to compete, he grafted at the training camps, but he grafted like at home as well. Even if Jeff was off, Frank would just be doing his routines if he had to. He was able to motivate himself without a coach, really. So I would say Frank was consistently.
Yeah. No, that's really, really good. Okay. What was your favourite skill to compete?
My favourite skill probably was the Thomas rollout, because he used to stand up on straight legs. So at the time, it was pretty cool. It felt quite cool. Now my knees are a bit sore from all the years of doing it on straight legs, but it was always seemed to be a bit of a crowd pleaser, so quite enjoyed doing that one.
That, Dan, was the somersault where you basically did a double somersault and then you kind of went into a forward roll out of it. I'm just trying to explain to anyone that doesn't know what Thomas Salto is. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not allowed to do it anymore.
No, well, so a very tricky skill then. Okay. Which was your favourite competition of your career? We may have already touched on this, but I'll ask you anyway.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, I'd have to say London. I think still to this day, looking back on it, I can still remember everything so clearly. And mainly through obviously the results and everything else was fantastic, but just the hype after it was crazy. You know, I think being in London O2 Arena, having the home crowd, and also just having our friends and family and all our coaches there, just made it more special. So yeah, certainly after we come down off the podium, that to that point was just unreal. After that, everything after that was awesome. So
yeah, it's so nice you can remember it all, especially what you're saying 2012. You realise that's 8 years ago. It's quite a long time ago now. But yeah, nice. You've got all of those memories. Okay, favourite snack? Can you top Kristof's banana or grapes? I will remember that.
That's very I don't know if I can say a Mars bar anymore. I think I'll go Nutra Valley bars. They were good. Snack.
So like an OT bar, something give you a bit of energy.
Yeah, like an oat bar. Yeah, I remember there was a vanilla one. That was
very specific. And in your GB squad, then the guys that you trained amongst, who was the funniest amongst those?
To be fair, all of them cracked me up. Like they're all such a funny group when we got together. Cracked me up the most. So probably Dom. He just started breaking up. Yeah, very similar. Yeah, and
say Dom Cunningham. That's who he's talking about. I think.
Dom Cunningham, guys. Not me.
You're very funny as well, Dom.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
So would you give Dom the award for best dancer as well, or do you think someone could outdance Dom, other than yourself, obviously, Dan?
I certainly can't dance, but who's the best dancer? I probably would. He's got the same dance moves on the nightclub as he does in the gym. So yeah, I'll say Dom.
So both Dom and Dom are winning in the GB teammates. Okay. Favorite country you competed in, Dan, and why?
Favorite country? I'll probably say Japan. For me, just like the culture for gymnastics there was just amazing. Like I think it's just such a strong sport over there. So you could tell when I did 2011 World Championships in Tokyo, the city was amazing, but the crowd was just knew about gymnastics. Like even to the scores and that, it was obviously a very high level sport over there. So it was amazing to be in a country that really appreciated the art of gymnastics. And yeah, that was that was really cool. That's probably my favourite country to compete in.
Oh, well, it looks like it'd be an exciting, fingers crossed, for the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo then. So hopefully the gymnasts will have a great time there. So final question. Just like we asked Kristof, in the men's program now, who do you think is kind of looking good? What are the sort of the younger gymnasts, any up and comers? Who do you think?
Oof. Well, fortunately, there's so many amazing talents coming through. To be honest, it'd be hard to pick one. It's just unreal. Like when you can look back on it now, like it, there's about 5, 6, 7 that could potentially even go to the Olympics coming up. That have just come from the junior rankings. So it would be hard to say one. I think I'll say Jamie Lewis. The last time I was at Liverpool, he really impressed me with some of the skills. They all impressed me, but he certainly on the pommel horse looked incredible from what I saw the last time I was at Liverpool, which was a long time ago. So yeah, again, there's so many. Jamie Lewis really did look phenomenal on that pommel horse when I saw him. So yeah, definitely.
Oh well, that's good, exciting. Like you say, if there's a whole host of them, then that's always a good thing. Like you say, the same in tumbling. So fab. So before we move on, really quickly, Dom, I think it's worth getting to know you a little better as well. You didn't know that I was going to come to you with these questions.
I didn't. I didn't.
So really quickly, I'm going to go the questions again. I want nice and quick fire from you. Okay, you should be good at this. So right, GB team, who's the hardest trainer in the gym in your opinion? Go.
Oh, I'd go. It's two. I'd go either Elliot Brown or Kristof, but Elliot does like a lot of S&C. Like I know he has a very rigorous program outside the gym, so I'll probably just go Elliot. Elliot, right, fab. Your favorite skill to compete, Dom? Oh, favorite skill to compete. I'd probably go Miller as well, along with Kristof. I enjoy doing Miller in competition.
Miller, explain what that is, just for our listeners, in case they're not sure.
Yeah. So a Miller is a double somersault, normally in a straight position with 3 twists in it.
Fab. Okay. What would your favorite competition to date?
Ooh. Tokyo is definitely up there. Just because obviously world champion with the boys was brilliant. But I'd say for me personally, I'd go 2017 Junior World Championships, where I managed to get a bronze medal. I'd wanted an individual junior medal for so long, and to finally get it on the last junior competition was great.
Fab. Okay, mixing it up a bit here. Your favorite music to listen to in the gym?
Oh, favorite music to listen to in the gym. I love rap music, UK rap music, US rap music. I'm normally not allowed to play it in the gym because it goes a little bit too hard, so I have to just keep it in the headphones. But yeah, I'd say US rap, UK rap music, and a bit of Afrobeats music as well, because I'm from Africa myself. That's where my parents are from. So I like kind of taking that culture into my music taste as well.
Nice. Okay. Favorite snack?
Ooh, favorite snack. I'd say the healthy one, probably a banana before training. But when I'm just chilling out on the weekend, I love Maryland cookies. I can go through Maryland cookies all day. But the healthy one is the main one, a banana before training.
That's very specific, but I do agree with you there. That's a good choice. Okay, best dancer in the GB team for you guys?
Am I allowed to say myself? I'm being honest.
Yeah, I actually genuinely believe that you are being honest there. I'll let you. I'm going to go and say that you were also the funniest, so I'll give you that. You don't have to answer that one. You're the funniest. You're the best dancer. Anything else I can think of? Okay. We'll finish off then. Don, what about you? We heard from Kristof from the future prospects in tumbling. What do you think? Who's kind of standing out for you? That's going to stand out in the future?
I would say Will Cohen as well. I've trained with him a lot at Pinewood, and he's, really, really good. I know he's pushing some really, really big skills in there. So I'd say he'd be my pick for the guys. And then for the girls, I would say Nana Opong at Milton Keynes Gymnastics. She's had a really, really good junior career. She's got a really, really strong coach pushing her, Mikey French as well. So I think she'll be really, really good for the sport in the women's game in the years to come.
Corel, right? Okay, we'll have to make sure we see if we can get some of those guys on in the future to one of our podcasts. Be nice to talk to them. So, Right, brilliant. I feel like I've got to know all three of you a lot better. So we're going to move on now. We're going to talk a little bit how or you are preparing, or your life after competition, essentially your life, what's happening now in your gymnastics. So let's have a look at that.
Brilliant. So Kristof, we'll start off with you. Obviously, you're still competing, at the highest level. Definitely, one of the greatest British, tumblers of all time for me. But you've also taken a real passion for coaching. Talk us about how you kind of got into coaching and what kind of draws you to it today. Like, what kind of age did you start coaching as well?
So just kind of when I came out of uni, I decided to kind of not go straight into industry. So I decided to kind of give my training career kind of the final shot that I could. So I've always kind of done it a little bit. Whenever I've trained from the age of 13, 14, I've always kind of tried to help out kind of teammates and stuff like that. So it kind of felt quite a natural thing to do. So just kind of fell into it a little bit and enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would in a way. I think for me, it's exciting to kind of be able to, the journey that I've had throughout gym is obviously what has made me love the sport, and kind of what I'm quite excited to be able to see other people go through that as well, and try and see other people kind of work their way up to kind of hopefully kind of the top level as well. So I think that's kind of what the main thing that kind of draws me to at the moment, is to hopefully kind of, as I said, I love the sport so much, to be able to kind of see other people be able to feel and share the same journey that I had.
Brilliant. And just one more question. Obviously, I've coached with you in the past as well. I do a little bit of coaching myself, and you coach everything from the top skills, the doubles. Obviously you've got knowledge on triples, multiple twists, and you've also coached like sort of literally the very beginning. Teaching them how to keep tight in their straight jumps, cartwheels, forward rolls, round-offs, flicks, all of that stuff. What do you kind of get drawn to more? Do you get drawn to, the typical higher skill stuff, obviously, really testing your knowledge, or do you like really nurturing, young gymnasts from, their early steps into the sport? Which do you kind of enjoy more?
Definitely the higher, the bigger stuff. I tried learning it from the bottom just to kind of, so you kind of have the whole big picture. But for me, definitely the exciting thing is to be able to see the bigger skills come in, and kind of the most exciting thing for me is in the future being able to work with like senior athletes and kind of be on the competition floor with people kind of doing the big skills and the big competitions mainly as well.
Brilliant. Good to hear, Tough.
And Dan, what was it like for you when you finished, obviously, gymnastics? You made the decision to retire. You obviously were training, hours and hours each week. What was it like when you kind of suddenly didn't have that as part of your life? How did you kind of fill that gap?
Yeah, it was a real big shock. I think for me, I kind of planned it beforehand. So the year of 2016, I started my own recreational gymnastics club. So I retired then in 2018. So straight away, I knew that I had something, and I've loved having my recreational club. And I thought, I can be more hands-on with that. So I definitely had a drive and a goal, which was really important for me. Like you say, doing all the hours in the gym and not competing anymore. At least I had something to put my passion into. Fortunately as well, British Gymnastics enrolled me on a course. It was athlete to coach. So that was a UK funded course, and that was amazing seeing different coaches from different sports all come together and talk and try and learn what it is to understand athletes and how to be a better coach. So that went on for just over 12 months. So that was a really great course. And from that as well, I started working with British Gymnastics with the junior boys, junior development boys that some of them have been on the squad or just been on the British squad. So that's been really good. I've been working with some great coaches and some great gymnasts. So yeah, it's all been good, to be honest, but it's been amazing. It's been what I've wanted to do, and I've learned so much. And again, working at Southport, my gymnastic club where I trained, and having my own little development boys that I've just started out and trying to coach them and develop their shapes and, teach them what artistic gymnastics is going to be like, and as well as having my own competitive class there in Southport. So Yeah, it's all go. So fortunately for me, I have something that I could put my passion into. So I'm really lucky in that respect, and it goes all the way from recreational gymnastics to the high end of British gymnastics. So it's all, yeah, it all works together. But it's very important, I think, to be flexible and to be able to coach, a forward roll and legs together and see someone get pleasure out of that, and then coach a really high level skill, and see the same how it can all develop.
Yeah, so you've got a lot going on there with the different, like you just said, all the different sides of the spectrum. So what are your kind of plans for the future in those different aspects? What would you kind of hope to achieve within your coaching career?
At the moment, I've had a lot of time to reflect, especially this year. Had a lot of free time. Sadly, my recreational gym had to stop due to lockdown, and fortunately, it's still going. It's been back up and running. So, definitely want to keep that going as well as I can. Keep my relationship with British Gymnastics is really important. Hopefully, I can try and do more and more with British Gymnastics, coaching these development boys coming through. So we just have to see about that. And again, working in Southport, giving back to the club where I trained, and it gave me so much. It's something where I want to keep coaching the boys there as well. So, I don't have one direction. I like to keep things as freely as I can, but hopefully in the future, then something might come up where I can just either go one direction, full-time coaching with my rec or British Gymnastics or at Southport. So we'll just have to see, but certainly coaching all these disciplines at the moment is what I want to do.
Yeah, so obviously you're going to stay heavily involved within the sport, which is fantastic. Where do you think the men's program? So obviously, coming back off the success they had at the World Championships, what do you think can be achieved moving forward?
To be honest, I think sky's the limit, and I think these young junior boys that we talked about before coming through, that have gone from juniors to seniors, the talents that are immense. The boys at the moment, they did so good, as we've seen. Finished second in Europe, the last European Championships team, just behind Russia. And they pushed them the whole way, and Russia are number one in the world at the moment. So that was amazing to see. And going forward, I think with the development with coaches and the atmosphere in the gym now, you can see that everyone's working for the same goal, which is to make British Gymnastics as good as we can be in the world, and keeping that momentum. I think we could be pushing for Olympic gold medals, to be honest. I know we have done already, the likes of Max Whitlock, which is amazing. But as a team, I think it's just as possible going forward in the future. So keeping that momentum going, keeping everyone happy, and enjoying the sport, and all having that one goal and one direction.
Brilliant. Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And Kristof, just to go back to when you mentioned about your university education, could you tell us a bit more about your course? Because most sort of athletes that get into university, typically a lot of people expect, you do sports science or sports coaching or so on and so forth. But you're a little bit different in that respect. So could you tell us a bit more about your course and why you kind of picked it as well?
So I did biochemistry, and kind of the main reason I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was older. I remember at one point thinking I wanted to do medicine, but I knew I would have had to stop training to have done that. So I kind of opted out for that because I really wanted to kind of obviously keep pushing my athletic career. But it was kind of my sister's advice. She just kind of said, pick something that you actually are really passionate about. And at the time, I really liked biology. I really liked chemistry. Sounds stupid. It was almost a natural progression to try biochemistry. But there's a lot of topics that I'm really, really passionate about. So it was just a course I really enjoyed. So although I haven't actually kind of gone into a career path of it yet, there's kind of so many exciting avenues that I'm kind of looking at pursuing within it still.
Brilliant. That's really good to see. And in regards to your coaching career, similar to what Dan has been asked, where do you kind of see it going? Do you want to maybe start your own club one day, or run the the men's and women's GB tumbling programs one day? Where do you kind of see yourself going with your coaching career?
I think the main thing is to do something that I kind of enjoy. It was one dream one day to kind of be able to go out on the floor and be able to still go to these big international competitions, still go to the World Championships and stuff like that. So kind of from that point of view, I'd love to kind of still be able to be on the floor, kind of at these big competitions, see the sport progressing and kind of things like that. I think I always want to be a personal coach. I quite enjoy being a personal coach more than maybe like a head coach of a program. There are certain things I'd love to kind of try and kind of help sport move forward in different directions. But actually, for me, kind of being to be a personal coach to kind of a senior gymnast on the floor, kind of like what I'm doing now, that's kind of the goal that I'd like to keep doing.
Brilliant. Good to hear, Kristof. Thank you for that.
Okay, final question then, guys, before we let you go. And this is a bit of a different one. How good do you think you would be at each other's routines? So, Dan, we'll come back to you. How good do you think you would be at Kristof's tumbling routine? Well, his passes.
Oh, I just don't know. To be honest, it just looks so scary. Like what you guys can do is in the air is unbelievable. Like you say, those moves before, triple somersault, double somersault, triple twist, all those sorts of things. And the way you get...
Have you ever tried a triple?
On a trampoline. I've done it on a trampoline. But the way you guys get from one end of the track, whip, somersault, whip. I was like, oh my days, I don't know if my back could handle that. But I think I could do maybe whip all the way to the end with a double somersault. I think, that could be possible. Yeah. But not
I reckon so. And what about you, Kristof, from a men's artistic point of view? How do you think you get on?
So, I mean, I could probably put towards a floor routine, I guess. I've actually never tried a double back somersault on a floor anywhere on a artistic floor as such. I think if I actually could do one, probably vault, I'd be okay. Not never competitive, but I mean, looking at kind of rings, I've got no arm strength, and although my awareness is all right on the track, I end up falling over my own feet half the time as soon as I get off the tumble track. So I can't imagine my skills are going to transfer to anything else. I'd love to try high bar, but I've never even done a giant. So
nah, neither.
On the horse and 3 bars would be impossible. But...
Yeah, not necessarily. But it sounds like you chose the right disciplines then. You've ended up in the right place. Brill. Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. It's been really it's been really great getting to know you guys. I know Dom's gonna sign us off a little bit here.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. It's been brilliant to listen to both of your stories, and I think it's really good to for the gymnasts out there who are approaching the higher ages in their career and things like that, to know there's a future after it, and you two are both a prime example that you guys can both thrive even after a long and successful career in gymnastics. So thank you for sharing all the gems, and good luck for everything in the future, and maybe we'll have you on again at some point to catch up.
Thanks, Dom. Thanks, Olivia.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Brilliant, guys. Take care. That's been the All Round Podcast by British Gymnastics. See you guys in the new year. Have a great Christmas. Take care.
So that's it for our first ever All Around Access podcast. How did you find it, Dom?
I found it really interesting, super enjoyable to co-host with you, Liv, and really great to get some insight from both Kristof and Dan, and some really good gems into their career and their futures.
Yeah, and we won't have to wait long until we do it again. We'll be releasing another podcast in the new year.
Yeah, so for the new podcast in the new year, we're gonna switch it up from the legends of the sport to the stars of the future, the people that are gonna hopefully drive the sport, getting some insight into their career so far and what they hope to achieve in the future as well. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and if you have any questions for myself or Dom, or if you'd like to send in any questions for our guests throughout the series, you can get in touch by emailing podcast@british-gymnastics.org.
We look forward to seeing your questions. Please keep an eye out on British Gymnastics social media pages for the release of the new podcast. I've been Dom.
I've been Liv. Have a great Christmas, everyone, and a good new year, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care.